Good morning, Aries. How are you? Today is April 30th. As I write or record this, the moon is at 2 Taurus, sun is at 9 Taurus, so the eclipse has yet to happen. Mercury is now in Gemini, Venus is conjuncting Jupiter and Neptune. Lots of stuff going on. This eclipse, I've heard of a lot of firings, actually. Anything where like your value status changes, like money or things that you believe. This week's astrology is actually pretty easy. The only big shift is Venus moves into Aries, so that will be nice for us. Definitely nicer. I think our Gemini season is actually going to be more pleasant than our Aries season. But no intro today. Just gonna go ahead and jump right into it. Let's get the overall energy. And there's the Destiny card. Now, the nodes, we were talking about the Saturn squaring the nodes right now. Excuse me, my allergies are so bad. Let's see how this plays out. Obviously, the role of eclipses are to sort of condense time. They make things happen that were inevitable, but maybe you were putting off or hadn't yet decided. And the eclipse comes along and just kind of pushes you into that next space. So there are definitely moments of destiny unfolding. And a lot of the times my dishwasher's in the back. A lot of the times things may seem unwelcome, but they are for your higher good. Now, we have 2 cards here in the challenge, both of them major arcana. The first is existence and breakthrough. So it's interesting that, again, we have sort of the duality figure here, trying to navigate the tension between making the next step, breaking through to the next level, and understanding what that actually is, because in order to, sometimes as Aries, we can just move. We like movement. And so, as long as we're moving, we think we're fine. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're moving in the right direction or moving towards something that's good for us. And this is very much about the power of observation, of understanding the bigger picture, how things work, also being okay with being still. So there's this tension here. The challenge is, and I mentioned this in the reading last week, especially with that Pluto stationing and now retrograde, it's going to be on that same degree for basically 3 months. And then we have this Saturn square true nodes, which means that our destiny is stuck in this tension of wanting to break forward, but being forced to kind of sit it out and observe for a moment, because whatever the thought processes or the mental conclusions that we need perhaps have not yet come to us, in which is the right direction to be breaking through in. And as you know, we have a Mercury retrograde coming up in a couple of weeks. We started in our shadow period on the 25th. So it's possible that what's going on right now, that the key to unfolding our destiny when that Saturn and North Node square separates and when Pluto starts to move, is that we will have gained the knowledge of what it is that we want, what it is that we actually need to break through, what it is. And it's possible, because it's interesting, because you have the 1 and the 11 here, right? Both master numbers. Added a 10, it's but the 10 is the conclusion, right? So in between this and this is the whole cycle, right? So having to sort of sit still and observe the unfolding of the cycle to get to a position that you can get this energy that we love. So I really kind of feel like This period right now is in the current time frame is really about like why this stagnancy, because that's something that we obviously hate. Why the stagnancy? The stagnancy is so that we can very clearly see where it is that we're supposed to be applying that Aries action, right? And the eclipses are very early this year. We have the first one in a matter of hours, and then there will be another one in 2 weeks, right? So that information comes very early this year. Usually it's around summertime. And then we also have the Mercury retrograde mixed up in there. So somewhere, and then Jupiter moves into Aries mid-May. So all of this is like gathering steam, but also gathering information, gathering luck, gathering what brings us pleasure. With Venus moving into Aries now and Venus ruling the north nodes, it's aligned with our sense of vitality and our sense of wants. So I feel like the next couple of weeks is going to be very crucial for us in getting information that we need to move forward into the right direction, right? Between observation and the breakthrough, the eureka, the understanding, but also the shattering of illusions, right? So this movement forward may actually be an understanding that I don't need to move anywhere. I'm fine where I am. Or actually this thing that I've been working on, I don't really want to do it anymore. Okay, yeah, here we have this awakening presence, right? The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So I feel like we may have some illusions shattered. Now, some of you may also be breaking through a psychic wall, meaning that like you're developing skills that you didn't even know you had. There's some sort of awakening that shatters the existing paradigm and status quo. And that's what this stagnancy is for, right? Because I really feel like in a matter of weeks, we may be in a very different position energetically, consciously, cognitively than we are right now. And that's why the stagnation. That's what Pluto's doing. He's like, I'm not moving off of this until you understand where and why you're transforming. Or until, diamonds are formed under pressure, right? Until there's so much pressure on you internally that you become something different. So it's really a very, despite the stagnancy and the pain and the difficulty and perhaps feeling, that we're doing everything wrong, there is a very strong internal process that's happening on us in particular right now. So can I get 2 cards? Beginning and ending energy. Ending. Okay, so we have the yang energy, which shows up in reverse, meaning not a time to move forward, right? Usually this is the way we like to see it, but this is where it is right now. However, the other one here is the orphaned, also in reverse. So coming out of that stage, or at least no longer feeling alone, right? There's a difference between being alone and feeling alone. And I feel like in this moment, we're probably mostly feeling alone, or we have felt alone, perhaps abandoned even by the universe. And this process is kind of like the wisdom being revealed, right? Like this is kind of us here. We're Aries, we're the kids of the babies of the zodiac. And so this wisdom in the 2s, and I always think of this guy as being the sort of Uranus, and this feels like a Neptune to me, like a little bit wiser. So, between the sort of electric energy and the passive wisdom coming together to show us what we need to know to evolve, right? So definitely not a time for moving forward, or we're feeling like without energy, you know, and probably feeling like this. But it comes out in reverse. And this is a 1 and this is a 5, right? And I think in the last reading, if I'm not mistaken, there was a lot of 5s. Because I remember mentioning that was the, you know, that's the turning point. And so by the end of this week, actually, it looks like we may be coming to, like I said, there's going to be in the next couple of weeks. It's really what we understand will change. And here we go from the 1 to the 5, and here we're 1 to 11. So it's almost like halfway through the journey. So between, which is perfect because that aligns with the eclipses. So this season of eclipses is really to shatter some of our illusions. Here's you see the constellations in the back again. Understand how everything is working together to help us make some sort of breakthrough. And again, it can be like you learn something or something happens, someone says to you, you know, we could get fired, we could break up, we could leave our jobs, we could leave our careers. It's about understanding right now. Page of Cups. 2 more cards, please. Queen of Wands. Okay. Oh, 3 cards. All right. All right, but hello. So lots of power there at the end, right? Now, you know, I don't love, anyone who's been watching me for a while knows I don't love the 9 of Cups card, but these guys are like on it, right? This is about self-satisfaction. We have 4 seated figures. 4 seated figures. Sorry, this is like, all right, I'll do 2 hands. 4 seated figures, all pretty powerful, right? 1 major arcana mixed in here, 2 court cards. And even if this guy's like a regular guy, he's got the power, right? Because he's got the 9 cups. He's still missing the 1, but he's got the power. So that in this being told to take a seat by the universe is where the power comes from, is where the knowledge comes from, is where the looking at things from a very different perspective, right? Like that's right, because we had the 5 Pentacles, I think. We're like feeling all 5 of Pentacles-y, but the point is that the seated aspect of it, the block, the not being able to move forward, is meant to put you exactly here, to give you the sense of self-satisfaction, to understand how to harness that fire in a different way, like not necessarily on the ground, right? To make discerning, wise choices that are good for you and know what to cut out. And I love that we have the King and the Queen like flanking the reading here. Because in between, it's, you know, the mixing of the passion and the intelligence is the ability to make good, wise decisions that bring a sense of self-satisfaction. And all of this comes through these sort of like naive young emotions, right? Or the feeling, the raw emotions, the feeling sorry for ourselves, the feeling, but also like feeling new things. So it's possible that we might start to, you know, have some positive feelings bubbling up again, or that we start to understand on an emotional level what it is that's going on. This can be, you know, what this Page of Cups here can be what the universe brings to us. It may be, I know a lot of people like to think of this card as the apology card. It may be an apology. It may be someone expressing something. There is an emotional communication that comes through here. And again, it may just be representative of this period of time that ultimately leads to this tremendous sense of power that comes, right? And we learn that the sense of power, except so here we have almost all the suits ripped. There's no pentacles here. So, this isn't really about the money right now. It's about getting into this place, right? I always feel like the pentacles are a consequence of everything else. So it's getting the mind and the passion and the heart all in the same place, all interlined, which ladder up to this Justice card, right? The ability to make wise decisions. Here's the wise elders. And moving from a Page of Cups into the Justice card through this feeling, it's like going through this process to get to there. So these are all interconnected to give us the information. Like I said, these 2 weeks or this period is a process of bringing us to a certain set of conclusions where we have our heart, mind, and passion all aligned. So like all of these chakras here, which then ultimately manifest themselves into our ability to turn that into something concrete. But we're being realigned right now. So it's a realignment that can only come through stagnancy. Realignment through stagnancy is the message. And what is revealed is the wisdom that we need to be able to make the breakthrough. And it's possible that the breakthrough is that we realize what the process has been about. Okay, so that's why. But ultimately, there is some sort of conclusion here that we will come to that will affect our destiny, or that is our destiny. But we will leave, feeling far more empowered. So thank God, because I know we've all been like, I feel like someone wrote me about the Shawshank Redemption, and that's like exactly what's going on, right? And it's kind of like the get busy living or get busy dying energy, but also feeling free, feeling free and unbound from mental constraints, emotional constraints, any old forms of thinking is really an important shift. All internal, which is not what we love because we like external energy. This period is really about bringing us an enormous shift internally that will come through this being forced to sit still. Now let me get you some advice. I'm just going to go with my Mercury deck this week. I'm feeling Mercury. Since Mercury's in Gemini. Mercury retrograde in Gemini will be all sorts of... So it won't be as bad as it was when the nodes were in Mercury and Sag. That was insane. But I expect a rather animated Mercury retrograde coming up. Mercury in Gemini is like a hyperactive cat. Okay, so here we have ornithomancy, which if I'm not mistaken is the reading of birds. Omen, yes. Okay, so be alert for the signs all around you. You have not heeded your internal alarm. So this flight of birds comes to warn you that you are in the process of making a huge mistake. You may be flying high at the moment, but you could fall quickly and suffer a very nasty bump as you land. Already you have been swept away, but never fear, it's not too late to get back on track. Ask yourself what resonates with your truth and integrity, right? And that's like this card here. Take action accordingly. Soar freely above the commitments you have made. Liberate your mind and heart to allow your soul to take off, which is what I said here, breaking through some understandings. So the incantation is, all that glitters is not gold, but I believed, past tense, what I'd been told. This omen bids me to retreat as protection, not defeat. So this says, do not ignore your intuition, messages, or signs. Think before doing anything that will take you from your true path. Someone is not being honest. This is not a time for new ventures. Do not move forward at this time. Okay, that's pretty clear. I mean, it does talk about the sit still and breakthrough moment. Let me get one more card for advice, because that feels a little a little less tying it up and a little bit more bringing in new info. So let me go for this one. It's also advisable, especially under eclipse season, to not make any big decisions because we don't have all the information yet. We have to go through both eclipses to see how the dust settles. So right now, it's not advisable to make big. Now, you may find that big life changes find you, and that's fine, but it's not advisable to necessarily make them right now until after the second eclipse is done. So this is a 10, right? And this is what was missing in between the 1 and the 11. And it says nourishment, angel Isda and carnelian. Let's read this. This card has never come out before. So there's that element of newness. And I've had this deck for like 3 years, 5 years maybe. We bring you the gift of nourishment. You are ready to grow, and to do this, you need food for your body, mind, and soul. Remember, that was what I said here. We want you to feel fed with what brings you life, with what helps you feel good, with what heals you, increases your energy and your power. We know what you need and what can assist you to grow in mind, body, and spirit. We know that life can be a banquet for the soul. There are many choices as to what you can feed yourself, and sometimes you may be confused about what is good for you and what is not. Let go of any doubt or shame, guilt or fear about being nourished now, as we guide you towards what will truly feed your life force and bring you happiness. Okay, so yeah, this is really kind of like a wait and see moment, a take care of yourself, a watch and learn as the destiny kind of unfolds. Pay attention to your signs, and the signs. As you know, it says here also awakening presence in this destiny card that everything will be revealed. What we are asked to do right now in this space of stagnancy is to nourish ourselves. And it's funny because whenever I get like really sort of manic, like I don't know what to do with my life or with myself, or I'm not seeing the results that I want, I will hold like a big dinner party that requires me to cook for 3 or 4 days, because like the cooking and the process of it allows me to focus my mind on a very neutral subject that makes me very happy. And then the process of producing something also, you know, gives the dopamine hit that we need for the sense of productivity and accomplishment and stuff like that. And then, of course, feeding people is one of my passions. So if you have one of those things, like the thing you do that outside, like has no necessary objective, it isn't connected to your growth and your material growth and evolution on this planet, spend some time doing that right now, right? Like hobbies or things that make you happy, that nourish your soul, that give you this sense of peace and contentment, because we're in this process, right? This was the 10 in between that and the breakthrough. the way to get there is through this sort of like nourishing the soul. And that when Venus moves into Aries, that will be much easier for us. Like I said, Venus rules the nodes, which are connected to our destiny. Venus is our pleasure principle, what brings us pleasure. And when it comes into Aries, it's going to be much easier for us to identify that and to feed it. So that's really the energy that you want to be leaning into right now as these eclipses unfold, and as whatever piece of information that we need to move forward comes to us. And it's possible that the piece of information comes to us through this nourishment process. Okay? Hope you're all having a great week. Wish you another great week, and take care. I'll see you next Saturday. Ciao.